Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Nick O'Leary, and today we're looking at a user's guide of your sat-nav. Now, there are many different models and shapes of Mercedes-Benz, so to be a little more specific, this one today is on Garmin Map Pilot. To identify it, you'll usually have an SD card inserted in here or here, depending on your model. And this basically runs your sat-nav and will commonly look like this with the wording destination entry when you press the Navi button. So then guys, just the basic controls of Garmin Map Pilot. With Garmin Map Pilot, you'll always find a wheel in the middle to control the screen. Now, some cars also do have a touchpad that goes over the top of it, like this here. So as you can see, it says destination entry on the screen. So if it looks like that, then you know you have Garmin Map Pilot. So if I spin the wheel around, you'll see these different things here, different menu items. But we're going to cover the very basics first, which is destination entry. So as this is the basic controls, when you click enter on that one, you'll see all these different menu options here, but just the basics. Address, the first one here that's highlighted, is how you can navigate somewhere else other than where you are now. So like, I don't know, a town or city or road name or even a postcode or something like that. Moving across a couple, there is the one that says go home, which of course will be your home address. So if I click on this one, you can see you can use your current location, which is where I am right now, or you can type in your postcode or address. So if we do that one, and then we do enter postcode, for example, this will then bring up the keyboard where you can then type things in. So let's just type in the postcode of where I am right now, just as an example. So there we go, all typed in, BH152BD. Click it in one more time and it will show you basically the route information of how long it will take to get there. But of course, I'm only setting this as home, so if I click that in, that is then stored as the home location on this sat nav. Now, just to very quickly clarify this, if you wanted to change that, say for example, you moved house or picked up a new car or something and wanted to delete the previous one, on the home screen, if you go to settings, and then go down to my data, in here you can set or change the home location, delete recently found locations, and also clear the favorites as well. And there's also a restore all settings button just before that as well, just in case. So to now navigate home, as it's all saved, if we go back to the start, destination entry, click it in and spin the wheel around to go home, click it in one more time, and then it will calculate the route. And of course we are literally just over there, so it'll take us around the block. And then she'll usually talk to you to let you know where to go.
Please drive to highlighted route.
Just like that. Now, of course, some of us know where we're going, so you might not want the voice talking all the time. So let's cover how to mute and, of course, stop it as well. So with the map on as it is at the moment, just literally click the wheel in, and then it will bring up a kind of sub-menu on the left-hand side. Then you've got things like stop route, which will just cancel the whole thing. You've got repeat, which is just underneath there. And then there's also a mute button at the very bottom as well. Now, when you have got this muted, pay close attention to the right-hand side just here, because sometimes you might have accidentally muted it and you might not know why it's talking. That little symbol there means that it is muted. So let's just quickly unmute that again, just to put it back the way it was. There we go. Now, of course, I know the route to here, so let's cancel that and have a look at something else. Now, another thing you can do on the destination entry, if you go in here, there's a few things like POIs, which are points of interest, and you can even look at your recently found as well, and even your favourites. Now, to save a favourite, basically if you go to your address search here, type in a place where you want to go. So let's do the Poole Town Centre just over here, and then OK just down there. Poole and Dorset. Now, I'm not going to put a house number or a house name or street or anything like that, just the town centre. And then if you look on the bottom right hand corner, it says save. That's how you save it to favourites. So really easy. And of course, then once you have saved it in your favourites, on the home screen when you go to destination entry, just keep an eye out for the star there, because that's where all of your favourites will be stored. So with the basics out of the way, let's have a look at some more advanced things. Now, Garmin Map Pilot, you can actually operate it using the voice. Now, just to clarify, this is not connected to the internet, so you do have to give it specific phrases that the sat-nav knows. So for example, on the steering wheel there is a voice button which looks a bit like this here. Now I'm going to be using this button just to show you, and what will happen is when you press this button, you'll hear the system will talk to you and say, please speak a command. However, after that, keep an eye out for the microphone up here, Basically when it goes green, that's when you say the exact command word for word. So as I said, it's not connected to the internet, so just make sure you say those exact phrases. So let's do a nice simple one, navigating home.
Please speak a command.
Go home. And it will calculate your route home.
Please drive to highlighted route.
Now, of course, as you did see, there were a few extra things, so let me just put that menu back up on the screen again.
Please speak a command.
So there's a few here that you can choose. One of the most popular ones is a thing called Recently Found. So let's do that as an example.
Please speak a command.
Recently found.
Searching for recently found. Select a line number.
1.
Would you like to begin navigation?
Yes. There we go, just like that. Now up next are some personally recommended settings from me. So a lot of people do, of course, use the sat-nav to get from A to B as quickly as possible. However, sometimes there can be a bit of confusion between faster route, dynamic route, shortest route, eco route, all that sort of thing. Now the default settings are the best. They do incorporate live traffic, but more on that in a minute. So let's just very quickly have a look at the settings. So from the Navi screen, where you see destination entry, I'm just going to spin this round to settings, click that in, go to navigation, and then in here there's a thing called route preference. Just make sure that faster time is the one that's selected from my personal recommendation. Yes, you can use the others like shorter distance, however that will take you around the houses and kind of almost as close as the crow can fly, so to speak. But faster time will give you the fastest time utilising the faster roads, and also make sure you've got advanced detours and lane guidance on as well. Basically just helps to give you that fastest route possible. Of course, in avoidances there's a few things that you can make sure that you avoid the sat-nav from doing. So for example, it's going to avoid traffic and car share lanes and unpaved roads, and also U-turns, because we don't typically do those here in the UK, but you could always turn them on if you wanted to. But yeah, make sure it says avoidances and then make sure traffic is ticked. Basically it's going to avoid traffic. And speaking of traffic, basically live traffic is renewed via the Mercedes-Benz store. So if you have just picked up your Mercedes-Benz and you have Garmin Map Pilot in your car, make sure you get your car linked. So get in touch with your local Mercedes-Benz dealership, and of course they'll give you a hand with getting it linked, and you just might need to bring your V5 in and or proof of identity, that sort of thing, but just double check with them to be sure. Basically it's renewed on the Mercedes-Benz store, so I won't cover that in complete detail here. I have a separate video on the pop-up banner up above on how to renew live traffic on most modern Mercedes. And then lastly guys are updates for Garmin Map Pilot. Now the best thing to do with this is just get in touch with your local Mercedes-Benz and they can let you know if updates are still available. And the reason why I say that is mainly because quite a few cars that you see in Mercedes dealerships now, Garmin Map Pilot isn't actually used in those cars now, so they kind of have inbuilt nav systems. So basically just get in touch with the local Mercedes and they can let you know if updates are still available, just in case you wanted the latest maps, or they can at least let you know the latest version and then you can acquire that one for your car. But there we go guys, that is Garmin Map Pilot with a user's guide on all of the basics. And there we go then guys, that concludes this week's video on the user's guide for Garmin Map Pilot. If you liked what you saw, don't forget that like button down below. Leave a comment. If you have a suggestion for a future video, just pop it in the comment section down below. Huge shout out to these guys, Sandown Mercedes-Benz, as they help provide access to all these awesome cars you see in the video. So huge shout out to them. But guys, thank you so much. Until next week, see you then.